Hey all, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about D4.1, which is natural selection. And we want to be thinking about what processes can cause changes in allele frequency within a population. What is the role of reproduction in the process of natural selection? So we're thinking about continuity and change, and we're looking at pages 741 to 748 in the Oxford textbook. So evolution and natural selection is when organisms produce more offspring than the environment can support. These offspring have different characteristics. This is called variation. Some survive better in the environment and live to pass on their genetics. This means the successful genes are disproportionately represented in the population over time. Evolution is a change in a population over time. It can happen quickly when there are big changes in the environment, but usually it is gradual and it is driven by natural selection. Lamarck was before Darwin, and he thought that organisms gained traits in their life and passed them on. But there was a paradigm shift when Darwin wrote Origin of Species, which outlined genetic transfer as the process for evolution, and that was driven by natural selection. So here we can see in this diagram some butterflies with different characteristics, and their caterpillars also with different characteristics, and they're both overproducing their offspring, and the individuals with beneficial adaptations are more likely to survive. And then if the brown caterpillars are better able to hide, I'm not sure what that noise is, I apologize, then the butterflies are more likely to become brown. All right, so sexual reproduction is related to natural selection, and all organisms have different characteristics, variation, and this is the basis of Darwin's theory of evolution. So organisms can mutate naturally. This is going to enlarge the gene pool with different variation. Meiosis produces variation in offspring by mixing up genes with crossing over so that not every sibling looks the same. And then sexual reproduction means a different combo of alleles. It's totally just random selection, whether or not one sperm versus another merges with that egg. So fitness is going to indicate how well adapted an individual is to their niche and their environment, and the fittest will reproduce and pass on their DNA. So here we have the black and the white moths of the UK. This mutation occurred in 1819. And initially the moths were white and they were able to hide well on birch trees. But with coal covering the birch trees, this mutation proved very beneficial for the moths, because coal dust, because during the Industrial Revolution, things were pretty dirty in the UK and the black moths could hide better on the birch trees. So this became quite a dominant trait in the moth community. A lot of them were then black because the black gene was passed on to their offspring. If you are fitter, you're going to live longer and you're going to reproduce more. And the organisms that reproduce asexually will be at a disadvantage in times of dramatic environmental change. With dramatic environmental change, you want variation because that potentially allows some of your offspring to be well suited to that environment. So there are different selection pressures. There's going to be competition, intraspecific, between offspring for food, that means within the species, for food and space due to the carrying capacity of the environment, how much the environment can hold of that species. There's going to be density-dependent factors, such as biotic factors. As there's more individuals in a population, competition for resources is going to increase, and then disease is going to increase as well. And then density independent factors such that are abiotic, such as cold temperatures, will cause some plants to die. Extreme weather conditions is another example. And so which of these species can survive in these new extreme weather conditions caused by climate change? So sexual selection is a courtship process, and only half of the DNA comes from you to your offspring, and the other half is from your mate. And if you're both healthy, your offspring will be healthy and more likely to survive. And so what is selected for is going to vary widely. If a male can survive with a crazy tail and is visible to predators, then he must be amazing. And so this is kind of the thinking that hypothesis for why peacocks, for example, look the way that they do. Because if that tail and that bird can survive against predators, then they must be quite a strong individual. And so this is true of birds of paradise as well. This is what the male looks like. And obviously, sexual selection, you're trying to achieve the best outcome for your offspring. And this, to some extent, actually, interestingly, for humans, can come from smell. And so we don't actually know that we're smelling the pheromones of a potential mate, but our sense of smell can tell if their genetics would be a good match for our genetics in a sexual reproductive situation. So traits are heritable. There are no traits that you develop in your lifetime, like strong muscles or loss of an arm, that you're going to pass on to your offspring. Sometimes your body is going to respond to the environment to trigger gene expression. So like the Himalayan rabbit baby, if it's exposed to cold for 20 minutes, grows black fur. But the genes haven't changed. They're just being expressed. And so some changes can occur due to environmental conditions with epigenetic tagging. We've talked about this before, related to people who were fetuses in a starvation situation from their mom, having different, oh no, just a minute. Okay, I might need to cap it at this video. But with those epigenetic tags, they're markers, they're added reversibly to a cell, to their chromosomes, and that can increase or decrease gene expression, and they may be passed to offspring. It's unlikely they're passed to offspring because there's a clearing process that goes through the chromosomes when gametes are merged together, but not all of them are removed. And the gene sequence is going to be the same with epigenetic tagging, but certain genes are being expressed differently. So to summarize, natural selection drives evolution through selection pressures. Those could be sexual, biotic, abiotic, or competition. If you have we want our organisms to have good traits for the environment because they'll survive better. They'll pass on their genes, not their acquired traits, to the next generation. And this trait becomes the norm in 10,000 years. And if that process happens, then evolution has occurred. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry about the drilling in the middle of it. And I will have more videos for you soon. Bye.